In this video, I'll look at how to find and trade low threshold setups and basically what are low threshold breakouts and why you should be looking at it if you're a full-time trader and what are the advantages of low threshold breakout. That's really what I'm going to focus on. So currently, if we use like say 4% on dollar breakout, it gives you some opportunities. Like say, let's say if I run a 4% breakout scan today, you get around 101 stocks, and if you uh, get use the dollar breakout, you get 72. So together, it may not be 172, but like you are getting. But these are all stocks which are probably like in between a stock which has not made say a 90 cents move. Supposing it makes 80 cents move or a 70 cents move, it can still be a good setup, but it will not show up in the scan. Similarly, a stock which is like an up less than 4%, say like it's up 3.9%, it will not show up in the scan. So these are some of the good setups which can be missed. And so the low threshold breakout scan will help you find lot many setups than a 4% and dollar breakout will find. It will find things which are breaking out with not enough force or not with enough uh, uh, percentage move. So that's the whole idea behind this low threshold thing. Now, obviously, it is not suitable for somebody who's working and all in terms of time commitment, because it requires a lot more commitment because you're going through a lot more stocks, even though it might be very low risk to them. So in order to do that, like what really is the scan which I'm using? There are two scans which I'm using for low threshold breakout. And the first is a scan which looks for stocks which have a trend intensity of 105. So these are all stocks which have a trend intensity of 105. If you see, like they will all have a trend intensity of 105. And which are having a low threshold breakout. So let's have a look at the scan to try and understand what each condition means. So if you look at this, what it means is basically the first part of the condition looks for a stock which has traded at least 100,000 in the last 3 days as of yesterday. So 3.1 in IntelliChart, it's a convention which you use to find a stock which has in the last 3 trading days traded more than 100,000. Price is above 1, and trend intensity, which is average C by average C 65, is greater than 1.05. So that way you're really looking for a stock which has an established trend intensity or established momentum, basically is what you're looking for. Now the next part is really what the low threshold breakout is. So you're looking for a stock which closes above its open. So there are a lot of stocks which can gap up and rest of the day they can spend going down. So that kind of a stock will not show up because your condition is close should be above open. Like say if you take a stock today like Enzor, like it opened, I think, and it opened and it ended up giving up the gains throughout the day. So that kind of a stock was not up from its opening price. So that is the kind of stock which you don't want to look at. So that was like basically the first condition, C by M. Now you're looking for C is greater than C1. What it means is you're looking for a stock which is up compared to yesterday. Not only that, what you're looking for is C by C1. That means like the percentage change today is greater than percentage change yesterday. So the stock not only was up for the day, but its percentage change was greater than yesterday's percentage change. So it has a range expansion compared to yesterday. And C1 by C2 was less than 1.02%. So this way you're looking for some stock which was not up more than 2% yesterday. It can either be up to 2%, but it can be down also, and which is up today. So that's the kind of thing which you're looking for. So once you run this scan, you're basically getting candidates which are like basically 294. So it has significantly more expanded your candidates. Some of the stocks which are in 4% breakout will also show up here because I have not deduplicated this scan with that scan. But like say you're going to get a lot of stocks which are just like an turning, or like when we go through each one of them, that's when you'll understand. Now this is on stocks with trend intensity above 105, but there are a lot of stocks which are like strong stocks, and then what happens is they have some sort of a correction, and they have some sort of a from that correction they again bounce back, and they may not have trend intensity above 105 at that stage. For those kind of stocks, I created another scan. Earlier, I used to use this low threshold also on the Minervini scan, but I closely studied that Minervini scan, and I said, okay, the real condition in that is the stock has to be about 100 and has to be about 200-day moving average. So I simplified that low threshold breakout scan to actually take all stocks which are about 200-day moving, or like which are trading about 200-day moving average. So this way, you're getting a larger universe of stock to look at. So again, let's look at the same condition. Mean V is 3.1 is greater than 100,000, C is greater than 1. Average C 65 is less than 1.05. Why? Because anything which has average C7 greater than average C by average C65 greater than 1.05 will show up in your first scan, and C is greater than average C200, and then the rest of the condition remains same. So what you get here is 248 stocks. So between these two, you will get a lot more opportunities, or opportunities qualitatively which are different. So what I'm going to do is, in a bullish working watch list, I'm going to combine these two so that like we don't spend time going through multiple stands. So copy all symbols to bullish work. This is more a process. You can always design your own processes, but like basically what I do is I combine this into one scan, so that way you're going through one list. Okay, now you have 542 stocks which are showing up. Okay, some of these are going to be in addition to the scans which we are running 4% and dollar breakout. Okay, so but that we'll look at later. So let's look at this. I just added this 200-day moving average just to show you. If you look at it, there can be stock which doesn't have trend intensity of 105, but can still be a good setup, or especially the kind of setups which are like stocks which had spent significant number of months or years below 200-day moving average, and they have just recently started going about 200-day moving average. So the idea of low threshold is also to get a younger trends or trends much earlier in the trend, even before TI65 is established. That way, if you're looking to hold a stock for a longer term swing, you can hold that particular stock. So that's the idea basically. So once I have this, I sort it by dollar, and then dollar is basically again C minus O, which is like how much is the stock up compared to its opening price. So this stock was up 1 cent compared to its opening price, if you see here. So obviously again you get a lot more stocks. As I said, like, and look, this is not a method for somebody who doesn't have enough time. This is method for people who are full-time traders, who are looking, and especially full-time traders who have a lot more capital. They're looking for a lot more ideas to get fully invested, and also those who are looking for really getting into trends very early, and also those who are not looking only for breakouts but other alternative entry points. So all the alternative entry points which you can look for in the stock will get covered in this scan, and you'll find all those stocks. So let's start looking at it. So once you have this list, I sorted by that, and I start looking at the things which are like up the list and keep going down the line basically. So as you keep going down the line, you're basically looking for again a similar kind of a setup to what we look for in a 4% or dollar breakout, where a stock is setting up very well and is just about to is breaking out on a lower threshold. That means it is breaking out with less than 90 cents, or it is breaking out with less than 4% breakout, and yet it is a good setup also. So that's what we are looking at. So now having gone through around 42, we don't find much, and if you don't want to go through these many, what you can do is you can add a filter where it's only look at a stock which is up 20 cents or 25 cents. That way you'll eliminate a lot of these just 1 cent kind of stocks, and which is what I actually do. I do add a filter sometimes if I don't have enough time, but if I have enough time, I go through everything, because this way, you know, if you look at any stock which is about 200-day moving average and which has got a low threshold breakout, you'll be going through. And sometimes you get very good entry points using this. Say like an entry point like this, you will get using this scan, like say on this particular day. Like this day it was 3.19. Again, it will not show up in your 4% scan if it was showing up on 4% scan, but you'll get an entry point like this also, and from there the stock made 17-18% move. So you'll get some of the alternative entry points, or when a stock pulls back and you want to have an entry point there, it will get you a good entry point. So this is what like the benefit of that particular uh, this particular scan is. So let's try and find if we can find any good setups out of this today. And so as you keep going down, you're looking for a setup. That's why I said, like, this is not for somebody who doesn't have enough time. This is more for full-time traders, and there are a lot of them on the site. So for them, like, this will be more useful because you can find alternative entry points, and you can also enter many of those stocks next day because they have not had a high threshold breakout. So they are not up much, and so your stop is not going to be wide. So that is one of the advantage of this scan, that you can enter next day without any problem basically. So as you keep going down, like say something like tail was like a pullback, but like, and it didn't close near the high. I always like stocks which close near the high. Something fades, that's not a good idea in terms of, like, that's not a sign of strength. Say now, like a stock like Intel, okay, this is not going to show up in your 4% or dollar record because see this, like from this particular small bull flag, the stock is about 200-day moving average. It did had a breakout. So that kind of a thing you're not going to find in a 4% or dollar record. So this scan will allow you to find those kind of entry points on stocks like that, okay? Again, like say something like this will show up in this scan much earlier. Even on this day it will not show up in your dollar breakout scan because the stock is up only 87 cents, but it will show up in your low threshold breakout scan. So once you study setups from this, you will understand look and why it finds good setups where your risk is lower. They may not be the having a breakout, but they are good setups. BlackBerry faded, like, and like a lot of stocks faded, but like, and it was about 105. So this is up only 1.81% today. This is anyway a 4% breakout, so that's not what you're looking for. See, a lot of fades today because the market was fading throughout the day. So say a lot of stocks which are up during the day, like Stockbee was up at some stage almost $1 and it faded. So some distribution was happening in the market today. So it's going to be difficult to find good setups today. May not find, but like say again, to give you an example, say a setup like this, Microsoft on this particular day will not show up in your 4%, or here also it is. I don't think it will show up in dollar breakout because that wasn't, the stock was not up $1 plus from opening price, but it will show up in your low threshold breakout scan. So that's the advantage of using the low threshold breakout scan, especially on the slower moving stocks. You can find entry point. Now this is an kind of a setup which you can find. Now this is a stock which is up only 0.98%. From this small bull flag, it is trying to break out. It will also be an it was also an anticipation setup, but that's the kind of setups which is like a good setup, because it's had a series of narrow range day, 4 narrow range day. It is breaking out uh, with a low threshold. It's not really a breakout like 4% or dollar breakout. Okay. See, some of these are also like, and I say this is earnings like in a pullback 2 days, and then like breaking, trying to make an attempt. So that's possibility. This is another one which was like yesterday, was up only 55 cents. It wouldn't show up in your 4% or dollar breakout. It was also an anticipation setup, but like this is the kind of setup which you can enter next day and it still can work. See, now Core Logics is up only 66 cents. It is not going to show up in 4%, but this is a nice setup. See here, small 2-3 days sideways breaking out. So that's the kind of setup which you can find. Twiddle again, like this is up only 0.78. Stock didn't close near the high. That's really the negative on that one. But see, EBIX, now stock is up only 80 cents. Okay, this is a nice little this thing for a swing. It might work. So that's the kind of setup which you will find. I'm not saying that those are all buy setup. I'm just showing you some of the setups, because today there are not many. But like say even this pullback from which the stock is breaking out on volume is high, but it will not show up in dollar breakout. It will not show up in 4% breakout, because the magnitude of the move was only 0.81 cents. Okay. So again, here you have another setup which is like, it may not show up in your dollar breakout, I think, probably, because see here it's not up. It was up only 84 cents for the day. So but it's a nice setup. Or even here it will show up in your low threshold breakout scan. So those are the kind of setup. Even this ZZA, JNX, like say, it's not going to show up in your 4%, but it's a good attempted breakout from this compact action of last 4 days. So that might be a setup. Okay. Even this ABA, which is like breaking out 89 cents. So obviously it is not going to show up in your, same thing I think with BABA also must be breaking out. So this is another way to find setups which are like not really breaking out, and many times it will get you into setups which are like better quality setups ahead of their breakout, or like which don't break out with enough intensity. Basically, that's what it will help you find. Today is one of those days when you don't really find too many of them, because many of them have faded. But if you do this daily, you'll find setups like, see, this is a dollar breakout also. So Obviously that will show up in dollar breakout. This will also be dollar breakout. It will show up in dollar breakout, because these are all up like $6 dollars and $8 and all. So that's like okay. So you have some ideas: TSG, Lennar, CoreLogix, QDale, EBIX. Okay. And you can copy those flag to watch list, and then you can look at entering. Like something like this can be entered tomorrow still, because the stock is only up 0.75%. So that's like a good entry point. Or even this particular stock is still a good entry point because it's up only 2.86, and some of these kind of breakouts will not show up in 4% or dollar breakout. So that's the advantage of using this particular scan. So obviously now having put all those in this particular thing, you know how you can use this particular scan to find more setups and more ideas than 4% and dollar breakout. Obviously there's a duplication between dollar breakouts and 4% in this scan. So what I do is basically, once I have this list of like say 542, okay, I also, before doing an analysis, I also put like all 4% breakouts in the same list, so that way you're not spending too much time doing two separate things, and all the dollar breakout also go into this, so that way you're just doing one list, and that one list has 637 stocks, and then those are the stocks I would look at basically, because those are the stocks which are making a move. Some of them will be low threshold, some of them will be like stocks which are basically having either a 4% or dollar breakout. So those of you who are interested in finding more opportunities for trading, or those who have larger capital, or those who are looking for entry on next day, can incorporate this particular scan into your routine, and you can find many candidates, and you don't have to do it at the end of the day. You can also use it intraday, and you can find a lot more opportunities. So that is how you can use the low threshold breakout scan to find stocks which are not breaking out with either 4% or dollar breakout, and it gives you many more opportunities as alternative buy points. If a stock has a big gap up and then after that it pulls back, and like as soon as it turns, you will get an opportunity to get into it by using a scan like this.